This is Kyle. Kyle doesn't like junk food. Kyle doesn't do drugs. Kyle likes to work out. Do some good shit.
Arnold Expo Saturday right here, day 2 of the Expo, day 3 of our trip. Ammonomics presents Muscle Sport Media's coverage of the 2023 Arnold Classic. I'm here at the old school bodybuilding booth right here with my boy, Josh Sanch. Is that the right way to say it, Josh?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Josh is from the Bodybuilding News Network. Follow them, and what's the Instagram?
Bodybuilding_news_network.
BNN, he's got a great logo. I love it, orange and black. It pops, great colors. Josh and I were sitting in the media section last night during the prejudging, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we'll get this video up as ASAP so it has some value to it. But besides that, Josh, we were sitting there last night with the prejudging. It seems like the top 3 were those guys that were in that 3 call out, which was Andrew Jack, Nick Walker, and Samson Duada. What do you feel about the top 3, and how do you see this turning out tonight at the finals?
Well, Joe, I mean, it's really going to come down to what the judges are looking for. Are they looking for that freak factor with like crazy grainy conditioning and having the mass and Nick Walker? Or are they going to look for like this nice balanced symmetry, beautiful flowing physique, great quads, adequate chest, a little soft in the back with Samson Duada? Or are they going to look for that like debatably like Sean Roden-esque with Andrew Jack? We talked offline, like we thought he brought the conditioning in the back, which was really the only thing he was lacking besides the posing prowess, especially from the side shots. So, I mean, I feel like the top 3 is already solidified with, Nick Walker, Samson Duada, or Andrew Jack. You can mix that up. It's really going to come down to what the judges are looking for. If you're going to ask me, I think they're going to give it to Nick. I think he's the favorite. If they want to go with the upset, they're going to go with Andrew Jack because I think that would be the most exciting pick. But then if you want to think about like legacy and like someone who's really coming up and who's been like really battling it out since, I mean, Samson Duada has been competing in the European Tour. He did the Prague back in like 2019, and I mean, he placed like outside the top 10. So, I mean, he's been freaking grinding away for a while now. So both of those picks would be really exciting, but I'm going to go with the safe pick because I'm boring with Nick Walker.
I mean, if Nick wins the show, to me, it's a good pick. I actually like Andrew, and we just did a video for your channel, and I went through it where I feel that he's got the slimmer waistline than the other 2 guys that are in that projected top 3, and that's kind of the look that I like. It seems like that kind of look works well at the Arnold with Cedric winning the shows. I mean, it doesn't mean because somebody won a show X amount of years ago, but it just seems to me that he would be a good way to continue that Arnold-style legacy, and Arnold always praised Cedric for having that slim waistline and stuff. So I think Andrew would be a great way to almost pass the baton, if you will, from the late Cedric McMillan.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, and no one's really losing anything with giving Andrew Jack this win here. Not giving, he's going to earn it, but I mean, Nick has already solidified top 3 at the Olympia. He doesn't need this win, and Samson Duada, he's a top 6 competitor at the Olympia, at his first Olympia. He doesn't really need this win. He put himself in the conversation. So coming into next year's Olympia, which, he's not qualified, so he's going to have to qualify, but he's already in the conversation. Andrew's the only person that I think he lived up to my expectation, but he still has a lot of possibility and forward movement that I think an Arnold Classic win would solidify him in that conversation of he should be in the top 6, whereas someone like respectably the last 2 Mr. Olympias could fall out.
And also obviously the quick turnaround from the December Olympia to the March Arnold, and all 3 of those guys in the projected top 3 did well at the Olympia and placed high, especially Nick. We mentioned before in your interview, in your channel, Big Ramy, a little bit of a disappointment. It seems that he's going to be out of the top 3 if you go by the 2 call-outs. So what's your opinion on Big Ramy, and if it was a mistake to compete here and maybe just lick his wounds a little bit from the Olympia and then come back and stronger in a year?
Yeah, Joe, I think I'd agree with you that it could have been a mistake, or at least I think history is going to show that it was not the result that they wanted with him and his in the Egyptian crew out there. For me, my opinion on Big Ramy, I really like the guy, I like his physique, but when you start looking at like the discrepancies with the arms, the measurements, the possible nerve damage with the arms, the lower back, the most definitely injections in the legs that are starting to like show mounds and bumps and stuff and dents. I don't think that's very conducive to what bodybuilding wants to be in 2023, and I think that's a huge reason, on top of him not showing up in perfect shape, on why his placings have slipped. And if he's going to continue to not take time off and make those fixes, I think his placings are going to continue to slip.
I agree with that. I think, like you said, he should take a year off, and I think that would be helpful to him. As far as the biggest disappointment from Prejudging, I'll give you my assessment, and it kind of really shouldn't be, depending on, taking into consideration his placing at the O, is Bonak. I really think Bonak, great career, he can still bounce back, but I think the Father Time is starting to catch up, and plus he had that medical issue which he basically ignored for his prep, which I think is a little chancy. It's a little dicey to do something like that, but he's got fucking balls to do that. I give him big credit for that. But it seems like it's not going to pay off for him. What do you think?
Yeah, Joe. So when yeah, Joe, like Joe Rogan, I hear it in my head. I mean, history's going to show that I put William Bonak in my top 4 prediction with my prediction video. With the kidney issue, I don't know if it was doctor's advice for him to take that prescription or not, but if he's going against doctor's wishes, that's something I really can't condone as, someone who prioritizes health and longevity in the sport that we love. My whole mission statement is advocating for athletes and shows. So if there's no athletes in the shows because they keep passing away, it's not what we want. William Bonak, multi-time top 6 finisher at the Olympia. He's placed second a couple times, 2-time Arnold Classic Ohio champion. So yes, I had a lot of hope that he was going to make those corrections with the midsection and the gynecomastia surgery coming out of the Olympia. It didn't look like that happened. I kind of took the exciting pick, putting him in my top 4. It looks like he's going to be battling it out between 4th and 8th between William Bonak, Akeem Williams, Big Ramy, and Samson Dauda.
And last competitor, I'll ask you about Sean Clarita. Listen, to me, he looked great. I think he looked better at the Olympia, but that's understandable. That was his main show, and he did his job there. But I think it was just, again, using a ballsy to come in and say, I'm going to go up against the big guys. There's no 212 at the Arnold. And I think he held his own last night. Placing may not be that high, but I think respect factor for a guy like Sean, and we couldn't wait to see him standing next to Ramy, and we got our wish in one of the call-outs. So how do you feel about Sean Clarita? Do you think it's just house money with him here?
I just think he just bit off a little bit more than he could chew, and that's no disrespect to Sean Clarita. I freaking love the guy. I think he's a patriarch within the 212 division. He really advocates for health and effective training. Like, I love watching his workout videos. Looking at the Olympia, he did amazing. Now he's the two-time 212 tongue twister. Coming into the Arnold, again, I think it was just too much for him. He's competed against big guys, Regan Grahams, Sergio Oliva Jr. at last year's Legion Sport Festival. It made the conversation that he could compete with the best of the best when we look at the big boys in the Open. I think history is going to show that him at 180, 190 pounds isn't, just looking at the placings, it's just not enough. And, I wish him the best. If he wants to continue doing Open, I think he'll place well at any show. But for him to win an Olympia in the Open or an Arnold Classic in the Open, at least with, the new crop of athletes we're seeing nowadays with Samson, Nick, Andrew, I don't see it in the cards.
No, I think for him, he just figured it was something he just wanted to do, and good for him. I don't think wherever he places in his mind, he's a winner, and he should be. I mean, there have been guys that have been hybrid guys. I mean, Hardy was a 212 at one time, and he's the reigning champion now of Olympia Open. You had guys like Eduardo Correa years ago, Hidetaka Yamagishi, who placed top 6 here before and has done well in the 212. So it's not out of the question for a 212 guy to do well in the Open at an Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, William Bonak's won the Arnold Classic 2 times. He's a former 212 competitor. Again, you said Hadi already. You saw Flex Lewis compete in the Open a few times. He never did get to make that transition with the decision to value more creating family and with children and whatnot. But I have all the respect for the 212 guys. You can look at someone like Tonio Burton, who's converted from a pro debut at the Indy Pro, winning the 212, coming into the Olympia, placing top 10, and then immediately going into the Open, and then qualifying by winning the Cali Pro last year. I love Tonio. I'm a huge advocate for 212, and I hope everyone knows that. So at the end of the day, like, if 212 wants to move up, great. If not, I still think there's validity and a place for 212, especially with the recent conversations we've had from people like legacies like Lee Priest saying, what's the point? I wouldn't agree with him on that one. I think there's a place for 212, and I think the athletes need to have a spot.
Excellent points. And listen, I enjoyed a 212. I think it was better a few years ago. Some of the guys, it's thinned out a little bit. But a guy like Sean Clarita, he comes every year, Dice, so he's keeping it going. Tell us a little bit about Bodybuilding News Network. Plug all your everything under the sun, BNN. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So Bodybuilding News Network, you can find us on Instagram, Bodybuilding News Network with underscores in between. YouTube, same thing, no underscores. The big thing, I already talked about our mission statement, advocating for athletes and promoting shows. At the end of the day, that's what matters most to me, is helping out athletes and helping promoters sustain the business, keeping the sport lively and the energy going, and also bringing longevity to the sport. So with the YouTube channel, we have a couple of different talk shows. We have Lori and Abby, and then Lamar Shaw, Olympian, and Justin Batterina, IFBB Classic Physique Pro. We have a Classic King show where we talk about all things classic physique. And our daily installment of Bodybuilding Daily, where myself, Bodybuilding News Network, Josh Sanch, talks about all things hot topic and trending in the world of bodybuilding and fitness.